Okay guys, today we're going to be talking about 4 types of garment seam finishes. The seam finishes are basically what happens to the seam allowance on the inside of your garment. We're going to be talking about the Hong Kong finish, stitch in pink, French seams, and serged seams. First, let's start off with stitch and pink. This is a very old school style of seam finishing and is easy to complete if you do not have a serger. Essentially, you are going to stitch a straight stitch in between your original stitch and the edge of the fabric on your seam allowance, and then you're going to clip off your seam allowance using pinking shears. Pinking shears have these zigzag edge, and that will keep your fabric from fraying along with the stitch. And next we're going to talk about French seams. I love French seams. They're great for garments made out of silk or nicer fabrics that don't have a lining because they completely enclose the raw edge, leaving a beautiful clean finish on the inside. And you do this by first sewing with wrong sides together at half of your seam allowance width, and then pressing and flipping to either side and sewing the other half with right sides together to create that nice enclosed seam. Hong Kong finish is another couture style seam finish. As you can see, there are no raw edges visible here. They are completely encased in bias tape. This, as you might guess, is quite time consuming. You would maybe use this on an unlined coat or jacket, something with sturdier fabrics, and this is the bias tape that you would use. Of any thickness, it just depends on how wide your seam allowance is, but you essentially sew down one side of the bias tape, and then once that's stitched, you flip it over, enclosing the seam, and stitch it down along the other side. And as you can see here, you can kind of see through to the other side, so it's not best for lighter fabrics as it is a heavier seam finish, definitely more for heavyweight, nicer garments. And lastly, we are going to talk about serged edges. This is my most commonly used seam finish, just because it's the quickest. Of course, you do have to have a serger to be able to do this. There are some mock serge stitches on a lot of straight stitch machines that you can use if you don't have a serger, but essentially a serger just encases the edge of the fabric in thread while also stitching to keep it from fraying. It's a very professional looking finish, and it's very quick and easy to accomplish. And that's it. Those are 4 common garment seam finishes: the pink and stitch, French seams, Hong Kong finish, and serged edge. You will be able to complete any number of these depending on your equipment, and your garments will be looking beautiful. Happy sewing!